So Borneo is an amazing place. It has ancient rainforests that are some of the oldest in the world. Um, it also is one of the most diverse, biodiverse places on Earth. Many of the species found on Borneo are found nowhere else in the world, are endemic to Borneo. We traveled there in April 2025 and spent 17 days exploring the northeastern part of the country, the northeastern part of the island, because, as I will explain, Borneo is an island. It's the third largest island in the world. It's about the size of Texas, and it's divided into three countries. The bottom part, the southern part, belongs to Indonesia. The northern part, whoops, pointer. Where's my pointer? Where'd it go? Here it is. The northern part belongs to Malaysia. The country of Malaysia is shown in dark green on the map. Then the country of Malaysia has two states on Borneo, Sarawak and Sabah. And in between those two states is the tiny sultanate of Brunei. So these are the three countries on the island of Borneo. We flew to the mainland Malaysia and then flew to start our tour to Sabah, the state of Sabah, and this is the area of Borneo that we were in for our tour. I want to show you this picture to give you perspective on this part of Southeast Asia. The area shown here is called Sundaland, and it's a biogeographical region of Southeast Asia that corresponds to a larger landmass that was exposed throughout the last 2.5 million years during periods when there were glaciers and sea levels were lower, much lower than today. But you can see that at one time, or at least when the sea levels were lower, Borneo was connected to a lot of the other surrounding islands in Southeast Asia and even connected to the mainland. And for this reason, Borneo shares a lot of species with these other islands and the mainland. But as water levels dropped, Borneo became an island, was isolated, and species evolved from the ones on the other islands into unique species, which are endemic to the island today. This aerial view of Borneo shows you the coastal lowlands and the mountainous interior of the island. When we landed in Sabah, we met our guide, Hazwan, who grew up on the island and has been guiding board trips for 15 years. He was very skillful at manipulating the spotting scope, his binoculars, a pointer, and his cell phone with all the bird calls on it. So he was a great resource, and he was our guide for the whole time we were there. He's also Muslim, like many of his countrymen, and was fasting for Ramadan the first few days we were there. Yakin was our driver for our trip, and he has his own minibus. So he took us, the four of us, all around Sabah in his minibus. This is the state of Sabah, where we spent our time. As you can see, it's well developed for ecotourism. And we started in Kota Kinabalu over here, and then worked our way eastward, stopping at different places like Mount Kinabalu and Kundasang, and working our way eastward at different sightseeing places until we got to Lahad Datu, and then from there we went in a four-wheel drive vehicle to Donham Valley. So this is the area that we explored. Our first birding destination was to a local beach park where we saw several new interesting birds. This is a blue-naped parrot, and it was eating palm fruits. These birds are found in the Philippines and Indonesian islands, and they're threatened from habitat loss and pet trade. The common Iora is easily detected by its loud whistles and colorful plumage. Haswan also took us to a private residence where the owner had set up a blind to see the slaty-breasted rail. This bird is normally very difficult to find, and we were lucky to see it. It came readily to the mealworms that they put out. We also visited a rookery on the edge of town where there were lots of great egrets nesting and some black-crowned night herons, and also this bird, the rufous night heron, are also called Nanking night heron. Next, we went up into the mountains to the Crocker Range, which is near Kota Kinabalu. The Crocker Range Biosphere Reserve is part of the Man in Biosphere program that was launched by UNESCO in 1971. And this program promotes solutions to reconciling the conservation of biodiversity with sustainable use. We had a good time bird watching there. The first place we went was a blind where we saw and photographed some new species. This is a chestnut-hooded laughing thrush. And turns out it's found from Africa to Southeast Asia and China. And we did see it many different places we went. This is a Sunda laughing thrush, gets its name from Sundaland, that biogeographical region. Laughing thrushes are more closely related to Asian babblers than they are to our thrushes here, like and our American robin. They're called that because they have very loud laughing calls. This cute little bird is a gray-chinned minivet, and it superficially resembles a small oriole, but it's actually a member of the cuckoo shrike family. It forages for insects high in the forest canopy. The golden-naped barbet is one of the endemic birds found only in Borneo. It feeds mostly on fruits and berries and nests in tree cavities. The indigo flycatcher is a member of the Old World flycatchers, and it was a common bird that we saw on the trip. Yeah. Dean took almost all the bird photos. I took some of the butterfly photos. Okay, this little owl has black spots on its nape that imitate eye spots, so it kind of looks like it's staring back at you from behind. It's a Sunda owlet, the smallest owl in Asia, about 6 inches tall, found only in Borneo and Sumatra. Trismati Bird Station is 2 hours east of Kota Kinabalu. It's a famous bird blind. It's the best place to see the Bulwar's pheasant shown on the poster. Oops, wrong.
Wrong pointer.
There. The male has that gorgeous white tail. And we did see that bird. And we also saw, whoops, so sorry. This one, called the crested partridge. This is the male. It's another impressive member of the pheasant family. And the male sports that gorgeous red crest. The orange-headed thrush is a relative of our thrushes and American robin. It has an extensive range in Asia and is popular as a cage bird in Java. The bird shown here serenaded us the whole time we were in the blind. Has a beautiful singing voice. This is a white-crowned shama. It's in the Old World flycatcher family and is one of the Bornean endemics. Local agriculturists um, breed these birds for their beautiful songs. But unfortunately, the bird continues to be trapped from the wild because it's believed that wild caught birds have a better song. So, yeah. The mountain blackeye is another Bornean endemic confined to the high mountains of the island. Feeds on berries, insects, and rhododendron nectar. This is a little tiny bird called a snowy-browed flycatcher. It's a common resident in the understory of the mountain forest. It's often tame and curious, and it's in the Old World flycatcher family like the white-crowned shama. Borneo is the world center of tree shrew diversity. Um, it has 9 species, and 7 of them are endemic to the island. This is a mountain tree shrew. Tree shrews are distinguished from squirrels by their longer nose and more terrestrial habits. We saw a number of different species on the trip. This is the highest peak in Malaysia and Borneo. It's Mount Kinabalu. It's 13,435 feet tall, or above sea level, and it's protected as part of Kinabalu Park. It's a very impressive mountain. Kinabalu Park was established in 1964 as one of the first national parks in Malaysia, and it was designated a World Heritage Site in 2000. um, that was due to its incredible biodiversity of both plants and animals. So we spent time in the park. This is the only road that leads from the headquarters up the mountain, and it stops at the end, and then there's a 2-day hike to the summit, which we did not do. But we spent 3 days walking up and down the road and saw new species each day. Sometimes we went off on side trails where there was very lush vegetation and no traffic. Mosquitoes? No mosquitoes. High elevation. This little bird we saw frequently in Kinabalu's Mount Kinabalu. It's a black-capped white-eye. It's very small and highly active and forages in mixed flocks. It's found in Sumatra and Borneo, but it's especially common on Mount Kinabalu. The Bornean green magpie is another bird that's found only on Borneo. It inhabits the mountain forests, and it's a member of the crow family. This is a Bornean flower pecker. It's the juvenile, and it's eating the berries of a plant called the showy Asian grapes, but it's not related to our grapes. It is native to Borneo and Java. These flower peckers are mostly fruit eaters, although they will peck at flowers to eat insects. We wanted to tell you about an explorer from Great Britain named John Whitehead. He was a professional collector of natural history specimens in Southeast Asia in the late 1800s. He collected large numbers of new species from Borneo, and in addition, he was the first European to reach the summit of Mount Kinabalu. More than 20 taxa are named in his honor. We saw a few of those. This one is appropriately called the Bornean stubtail, and it's another endemic to the island. Feeds on invertebrates in a mouse-like manner on the ground and in the underbrush. The scientific name is Eunosphena whiteheadi. So, this gorgeous bird is Whitehead's trogon. It's one of the largest trogons in Borneo, and it's very spectacular. The male is scarlet. The female, though, is just cinnamon brown. Whitehead had another bird named after him. This is Whitehead spider hunter, and it's also endemic and pretty hard to find. Um, it actually feeds on arthropods, berries, and flower nectar, like other spider hunters. And this is the fourth bird we saw, uh, named for Whitehead. Whitehead's broadbill, another endemic. I think the color is amazing. Um, feeds mainly on fruit, but hunts moths near lights um, at dawn in Kinabalu Park. And there's also a mammal named after Mr. Whitehead. This is Whitehead's pygmy squirrel. It's very petite. It's also endemic. It has distinctive white ear tufts. Ear tufts. Well, on this trip, we were also looking for butterflies, although when we were in the high mountain areas, it was cloudy and cool and we didn't see too many. But we did find this one, the Kinabalu birdwing. And it's in the swallowtail family. It's the official state butterfly of the state of Sabah. And it uses plants in the pipevine family, Aristolochias, as its larval food plant. While we were walking one of the trails, we found Malcolm's pit viper. This is a female. And it turns out these are arboreal, nocturnal, and venomous. And they're also one of Asia's rarest snakes, largely due to the pet trade. It's listed as near threatened. Haswan pointed out this very interesting insect on the side of a tree when we were walking. The males look like this, and the females look like this. It's called a trilobite beetle because the female retains the larval form and resembles a prehistoric trilobites. So, pretty interesting. While we were at Mount Kinabalu, we stayed about 3 nights at Perkasa Hotel, which is perched on a hilltop overlooking a valley. This is the view from the garden in back of the hotel. And the valley itself is an important agricultural area where many vegetables are grown. Now, if this had been early in the morning, you would have seen Mount Kinabalu, but it's completely hidden by clouds, which is quite common. We saw several interesting creatures in the garden at Perkasa Hotel, including the long-tailed shrike, a satyr butterfly, and a blue carpenter bee. After exploring the mountain, we went down to lower elevation to a place called Pouring Hot Springs, which is actually part of the park on the very southeastern edge. And since it's lower elevations, we saw a lot of new species there. It was the first place we went that had an actual butterfly garden. We were thrilled since we were there looking for butterflies and birds. The drip line there runs along a little creek and attracts lots of beautiful butterflies, including this green-banded peacock, which is a swallowtail with a 3 to 4 inch wingspan. The color of the band changes from blue to green to yellow-green, depending on the lighting. And the caterpillars of this butterfly use members of the citrus and rue family, like our giant swallowtail. The golden birdwing is one of my favorites. It has a wingspan of 6 to 7 inches. And their bird wings are some of the largest butterflies in the world, and they're fast, high flyers. This one uses pipevines, again, like the Kinabalu birdwing, as its larval food plant. This was an exotic species we found in the Pouring Hot Springs garden. We also found birds there, including the crimson sunbird. This is the male. There are about 10 species of sunbirds in Borneo, and they're specialist nectar feeders. but they'll also eat insects and berries. This picture shows the entrance booth to the hot springs area where people go to bathe. And I wanted to show you particularly this tree on the right. Okay. We found this bird in it. This is a scaly-breasted bulbul. And it was one of 7 different kinds of bulbuls that we found in that one tree. They were busy eating the fruits. Bulbuls were originally in a subfamily of the Turdidae with family, which is our thrushes and robin. But they're now in a separate family, which is distributed from Africa to Indonesia and north to Japan. There are 25 species that occur in Borneo, and these are just 3 of the other species of bulbuls that we saw on our trip. After we left Pouring Hot Springs, we passed an area where there's a Rafflesia garden, and when there's a sign up, it means that there's a Rafflesia flower blooming. So we stopped and photographed this flower. The Rafflesia is a parasitic plant that has no stem, no leaves, no roots, just a big old flower. And this one's 2 feet across. It's pollinated by flies. And all the Rafflesia species live in Southeast Asia. Oops, wrong color.
Does it smell bad?
Yes,
Rafflesia. I'll spell it later. Okay.
Smell bad.
Oh, smell bad.
Yes.
Yes, they do smell bad, as you expected, because they're pollinated by flies, so they smell kind of like rotting meat. Although this one wasn't too bad. Some of the other species smell worse. Okay, so the next morning we got up real early and went on a 4-wheel drive vehicle to the foothills, and then took a 1 kilometer hike to be at this bird blind at dawn. And that's because there's some very special birds that occur here, including the Bornean crested fireback, which is a large sexually dimorphic pheasant that's endemic to the Bornean rainforest and surrounding islands. This species is listed as vulnerable due to habitat loss, deforestation, and trapping for cage bird trade. But this was the star of the show. It's the Bornean peacock pheasant male. And this is the rarest and least known of the pheasants. To me, he looks like he's going. No, it's not AI. He looks like he's dressed for a ball to me. But anyway, we were thrilled to see him. And the only place you really can expect to see this bird is at a bird blind where it's fed regularly, because they're so rare and elusive. There was also this little fellow at the blind called a Bornean black-capped babbler. And he's endemic also to the island and very friendly because he came inside the blind with us. We saw 20 different species of babblers on our trip. And all of them are small brown birds that inhabit the forest undergrowth. Sepulok Nature Lodge is the next place we stayed for a couple nights. It's a very popular ecotourism destination, and the lodge is next to a Sepulok Rainforest Discovery Center, a natural area. The Discovery Center has a wonderful canopy walkway, all made of metal, so it doesn't shake or wobble when you're on it. And it was a really great place to birdwatch. This is the view from the walkway, and you're at eye level to many of the creatures there. One of the creatures we saw there is the black and yellow broadbill. He's common in the lowlands of Borneo. This is what it looks like on the front. As you can see, he has a very broad bill that's thought to have evolved as an adaptation to its insectivorous diet. The large tongue helps to mash food against the inside of its beak. We saw this several places. The banded broadbill is a very close relative of the black and yellow broadbill, but it's harder to find unless it vocalizes.
Oh.
We also saw a red-throated sunbird on the walkway. Again, sunbirds are specialist nectar feeders. This is the red-throated sunbird. And we got to watch the Indian cuckoo, which is solitary and shy and usually feeds in the upper canopy on caterpillars and other insects. We watched this one squeeze all the liquid out of the caterpillar very methodically before swallowing it whole. This is the first hornbill we saw, and hornbills are birds that are very popular in Borneo. A lot of people go there to see hornbills. They're also found in Africa and New Guinea. They're the only birds in the world that have their first and second vertebrae fused.
Cervical.
And
Cervical.
first and second. Yeah.
Cervical.
Cervical vertebrae.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, neck vertebrae. Yeah. And this is probably to provide a more stable platform for the very large bills that these birds have. Four inches tall, have very short wings and almost no tail. This is the Rufous piculette. and unlike other woodpeckers that have 4 toes, this bird has 3 toes on each foot, 2 facing forward and 1 facing backward. The crested goshawk was also observed from the canopy walkway. It's in the accipiter family and hunts birds and mammals and reptiles in the forest. The rufous-backed kingfisher is a very small member of the kingfisher family. And this one lives in forests near streams and ponds. It's easy to recognize by the yellow-orange underparts and the red bill. Very small little kingfisher. The black-crowned pitta shown here. We were extremely happy to see this bird. They are very secretive birds, pittas. They live in their ground dwelling. They hide in the undergrowth. And this one came out briefly. It's about 5 to 6 inches tall. The adults have a distinctive black head and breast, contrasting with a bright crimson belly. These pittas inhabit lowland tropical forests and prefer dark, damp places.
Only found in Sabah. Only found in Sabah. Only found in Sabah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Dean reminded me. It's found only in Sabah. Not only is it endemic to Borneo, it's endemic to Sabah, the state we were in. Right. Okay. As I said, we were interested in butterflies too, and at Sepaloke Rainforest Discovery Center, we found a few. This is a dark posy. It's a small hair streak butterfly. This is also very small. It's called a common red harlequin. It has a wingspan of less than 2 inches, and it is very shade-loving and elusive, occupying thick undergrowth. It's in the meadowlark family, which we have very few species in Florida, just one actually. The clipper is a larger butterfly, and it inhabits forested areas near rivers. The common name is thought to come from the white translucent patches on the wings that someone thought resembled sails of a boat. The Royal Assyrian is even larger. It's a very beautiful butterfly, and when it opens up, you can see the rich purple on the upper side. We saw and heard a number of cicadas. This one's a very special one called the 6 o'clock cicada, and it's famous for beginning its loud buzzing mating call within 5 minutes of 6 p.m. on a daily basis. And it did start at 6 o'clock. It's among the loudest insects in the world, and its call exceeds 100 decibels, which is similar in intensity to a chainsaw or a motorcycle. Squirrels were common on our trip. This is one of my favorite, the Prevost squirrel, um, and it's found in the Malay Peninsula and on Borneo. And we saw it eating tree bark, which I thought was unusual. The pig-tailed macaque was encountered on the canopy walkway. They don't seem to be bothered by people. Its common name derives from the short tail held semi-erect like a tail of a pig. Unlike most primates, these macaques really like water. We took a night hike at Sepulveda, a night walk, and I was thrilled to see this western tarsier. Tarsiers are tiny nocturnal primates, about the size of a human fist. They're found in tropical forests of Southeast Asia, of islands in Southeast Asia. And they have enormous eyes, in some cases larger than their brain. The eyes are fixed in their sockets. These tarsiers have excellent night vision, and they can rotate their head nearly 180 degrees like an owl. So, tarsiers are the only entirely carnivorous primates.
Mostly insects.
They eat small animals, yeah. I guess big insects mostly, yeah. Okay, and this is my last slide. The slow loris was another interesting mammal we saw. It's also a small nocturnal primate. There are at least 8 different species in Southeast Asia. This one is the Philippine slow loris. They're known for their large eyes and their slow, deliberate movements. They're also the only venomous primates. They produce a toxin from the glands on their elbows. And when that toxin is mixed with their saliva, creates a venomous bite that's capable of causing anaphylactic shock in humans. Yeah, you want to get out of there. Okay, Dean's going to take over from here and tell you about the rest of our trip.
Can I ask you a question?
Pardon?
Can I ask you a question
About Cephalon?
Yes.
Can we do it later? Because
Sure.
we're on a kind of a tight
Unless
schedule.
you
I'm
have to
happy
leave
take questions
right
at
now.
the end. Yeah, yeah, it's a great place.
Okay, so the next place we went to was a lodge on what's called the Kinabatangan River, specifically to what's called the Borneo Nature Lodge. And you'll notice, let's see, it specifically says there that it says keeping it green and natural. So this is sort of an eco lodge, which a lot of the lodges that we stayed at were. So the Kinabatangan River is Malaysia's second longest river, and it's a vital wildlife corridor. And traveling by boat is the best way to see nature here. And the boat we were on had 4 people in it: Haswan, the boat driver, and Sally and myself, and that was it. So on one of our trips, we sighted an orangutan. And so when we sighted the orangutan, what the boat driver did, he did what he was supposed to do: let the other boat drivers in the area know. So 2 minutes later, this is what looks like. A boat jam. So this is what we wanted to do generally, and that's what we generally tended to do. We went on to side streams like this that were much more peaceful, where we could look at birds and butterflies and stuff like that. And if you see this little bridge across there, that's just for orangutans, because orangutans don't swim. So in order to go from across the river, they actually have to have some kind of some way to go across the stream, and that's what that is. Got to keep my pointers in.
You didn't try that bridge,
No. Nope. So this is a black and red broadbill, and it has been declining due to hunting and songbird trade. You've seen other broadbills. So, need to see. So, well, some of them are, yeah.
Pointed at the computer thing.
There. Okay. So this is the bushy crested hornbill, a male, and they live in mobile groups of about 3 to 15 birds, and play an important role in seed dispersal in the forest. And hornbills are characterized by having a long down curved bill, like you see here, but they also have what's called the horny casque, right? Which you can. Oops, sorry about that.
We can show it there.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, go ahead. I'll just show it there. Which is an enlargement on the bones of the upper mandible, and it's believed that it enhances the calls of the bird, and it's a cue to the bird's sex as well as the social status, because the males have the larger casque relative to the female. That was the oriental. Oh, let me go back. So this is the oriental pied hornbill, as opposed to the first one, which was the bushy crested hornbill. And hornbills are really secondary cavity nesters. So this is a rhinoceros hornbill. It's large. It lives up to 35 years. And with the rhinoceros hornbills, what happens is, there's a cavity. The female goes into the cavity, and then what the male and the female does is they basically build a mud wall that basically blocks the whole entrance to the cavity, in which a female sits for the rest of the incubation period. And the hole is just large enough for the male to feed the female, and through which the females can defecate. Otherwise, until the fledglings are able to have all their feathers and basically can fly, the hole is to be sealed up. And then when the fledglings are ready to go out, they break the mud wall and they leave. So,
are they predators, snakes?
I would think so. Well, we don't know really, but they're pretty large. So I don't think there'd be that many large snakes. But okay, so that's the rhinoceros hornbill, and so this is the greater racket-tailed drongo. And what you'll notice about this bird, alternating thing, is that this bird has 2 long tails called rackets.
2 long feathers.
Which are called rackets. And they have a lot of varied calls, and they're also quite aggressive when they're nesting. And so this is a greater racket-tailed drongo chasing a rhinoceros hornbill.
Oh, wow.
Which is about 3 or 4 times its size, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so we also saw some beautiful butterflies there. This is a tree nymph. It's got about a 6-inch wingspan. Usually flies high in the canopies and does flaps, and then sort of glides. This is a stork-billed kingfisher, the largest kingfisher species on Borneo. It's about 14 inches long, from the tip of the beak to the end of the tail. It was described by Linnaeus in 1766. In contrast to the stork-billed, this is the blue-eared kingfisher, a male, much smaller than the stork-billed, obviously. And if you look closely, this kingfisher has a fish right there in its bill, which is going to use to feed its young, which is because the nests of the kingfisher, just like our kingfishers here, are in a bank and so that's what this kingfisher is getting ready to do. This is the banded woodpecker, also called the yellow naped, because if you look, you'll see those yellow feathers on the back of its head there. white-bellied sea eagle. This is an immature because when they are mature, they have a white head, white belly, and white tail. But it takes about 4 or 5 years for the immatures to get the full adult plumage. And this is a crested serpent eagle. It often feeds on snake, which is where it gets its name, serpent eagle. And it usually spends most of the day sort of perched, looking around, looking for snakes, whatever it can find. This is a silvered langur monkey, which is an arboreal monkey. And langurs have extra long digestive tracts so that they can eat a lot of plant leaves that other monkeys can't, so they can digest those leaves. And this is a baby silvered langur because baby silvered langurs have two color phases. They have both a sort of a grayish silver one and then also an orangish one. And as you can sort of see down here in the lower right, let's see if I get my, you got a grayish one here and a reddish one there. They're both silvered langur.
The babies are orange.
Yeah, well,
For three, that's not a baby, that's an adult. But the babies are orange for the first 3 months.
Okay, so that's a baby, and that's so the adults are more reddish. There we go. Okay, so this is a proboscis monkey, endemic to Borneo. It's closely related to langurs, and males have the enlarged snout, which can be up to about 7 inches long, and those with the largest snouts also have the largest body, up to like about 50 pounds. And it's believed the largest snout basically allows them to have a louder call. And so that is what is sexual selection in, because what happens is the female, which tends to want larger males with longer noses, because so they have a louder call. And males actually, the male proboscis monkeys actually do have harems. So this is a female proboscis monkey, a lot smaller nose. The proboscis monkey is listed by the International Union for Conservation of Nature as endangered. And 80% of the habitat along the Kinabatangan River is lost to agriculture and logging. But Malaysian conservation organizations are trying to replant the forests along there to reconnect some of the pristine rainforest habitats that they have there. So hopefully that'll be successful. So this is a saltwater crocodile, found in salt water, but also goes up rivers. This is one of the most dangerous crocodiles to humans as well. Males get up to 21 feet long. Females up to just about 10. They're apex predators, and they basically cruise along the river waiting for a monkey to fall out of a tree so they can grab it, among other things.
Do they attack boats?
But it didn't seem to attack boats, but we were sometimes worried about if we encountered a 21-foot long one, what it might want to do. So this is the entrance to Gomendong Cave, which is home to over 1 million bats, 4 species of swiftlets, and innumerable cockroaches. Because we were there. You go into the cave by the boardwalk. And if you go in there, what you see are these. These are white nest swiftlets, also called edible nest swiftlets, because these are the swiftlets that the Chinese bird nest soup is made from. These nests, okay, the bird nest is made from the bird saliva, and it's gelatinous in nature, and it's you basically put it in a soup or tonics. And I grew up eating bird nest soup, and it tastes delicious.
We'll take your word for it.
In fact, one of the popular uses for soups is after someone gets married. Yeah, um, um, because because the well, the folklore is that the bird nest soup is both anti-inflammatory as well as boosts your immune system. So and bird nest soups is expensive due to the difficulty of harvesting those bird nests. So as you will see in this picture, there are ladders going from here on the way up.
Oh.
There is a human right there. There's one right there, and there's a couple right up there. So as you can tell, it's very dangerous to harvest those nests. And people harvest the nests after the swiftlets leave because they only use it once, and then it's never not reused. So if you go just outside the cave,
Do the birds return to their nest and find them gone?
no, I mean they just build new ones, just like most
build new
birds.
ones.
Most birds do not reuse nests, except for hawks and stuff like that, and some owls. So once you leave the cave, you find these cabins, which is where the workers that harvest the bird nest soup live during that season. So what you'll notice also is that there's a big, large tree just to the left of the cabin, and that's important because that's where we saw this adult female orangutan, the best view we got of an orangutan. And this orangutan is eating a fruit. In fact, this fruit it's eating is a pomelo, which you can sometimes find in Publix. It's the largest arboreal mammal, with males weighing up to 200 pounds, solitary. They build a new nest every night. Okay, so they do not reuse a nest, and that's a way to both avoid predators as well as avoid things, parasites, etc., that might be on the furs and stuff like that. People, well, probably I don't know. Maybe just parasites primarily. I don't. That's probably how it really adapted. But it's a safety thing because your sleep. Who knows what might come up on you, especially if you're on the ground, for instance. But anyway, there are 3 species of orangutans, and all 3 are considered endangered. And the Bornean species, which is the one we have here, obviously, is the most common, quote unquote, with an estimated population of around 100,000. Very low reproductive rate, 3 to 5 years for a female for a gestation period. So, once you have a baby, it takes 3 to 5 years before the female will have another baby. And orangutans share about 97% of their DNA with us. So
Some people I know.
So our last place we went to was to the Borneo Rainforest Lodge, and on the way up there, we saw this animal on the side of the road, which we thought was somewhat like a cow, and as it turned out, it's a Bornean batang, a species of wild bovine that's found in Southeast Asia, parts of northern Australia. And you can recognize it by switch gears by its pink ears and the white rump. And our guide, Hazwan, who's been guiding for 15 years, said it's only the second time in 15 years guiding that he's seen this particular mammal. So it's listed as critically endangered by the IUCN due to poaching and habitat loss. So this is the entrance to the Borneo Rainforest Lodge, where we spent the last 4 days of our tour. It's within a 438 square kilometer conservation area. And just for reference, that's about 20% the size of the ANF. So it's not that big. And it protects a 130 million year old pristine rainforest. It's a 2-hour drive from the nearest city. But it had luxurious accommodations and had 3 exquisite buffet meals a day with a large deck that overlooked a stream and a mountain. And one evening we got entertainment from local Bornean dancers performing a traditional dance. This is one of the best places to see pygmy elephants. And we saw them and we heard them, but we didn't get a good picture of them because usually you'd only see the trunk or you'd only see the back leg or whatever because they're in the forest. So this is the best we could do. So there's a boardwalk here as well, and what happens is there's a tree. They build platforms around a tree, and that's where you can stand and bird watch from and everything like that. And then these tree platforms are connected by basically a suspension bridge like this. And the distance from where this picture is taken over to the other one's probably about 50 to 75 yards. And so we were here bird watching one day, and then someone reported that they saw an orangutan on the other platform over there. So within about 5 minutes, we had 30 people running up our tree platform over that suspension bridge over to try to see or photograph that other orangutan. And our personal guess is they probably didn't see it because there are so many people and they're so secretive. In fact, usually when you see an orangutan, you can only see, part of an arm, part of a leg, or maybe just his face, but you can't see the rest of its body because it's arboreal. It's up in a tree. And so that's why it was so, we're so happy that we did get that one picture of that female orangutan. But that's sort of what you can what those people undoubtedly encountered. Even if they did get over there, they probably wouldn't get a very good view of one. So this is a gray-bellied bulbul, and this bulbul subspecies is endemic. It's a subspecies is endemic to Borneo. This is a Bornean spider hunter. And we also saw a Borneo forest dragons, which is an endemic lizard, about 5 inches long. And this is the thing everybody dreads to hear about. It's a tiger leech. It's about just over 1 inch long, and it hangs from foliage, and it's basically waiting for something that's warm-blooded, a mammal or us, to drop in, and so it can attach to you. And you can actually buy socks at the lodge that you can put over your shoes and knee-high to prevent you from getting those leeches. The only problem with that is these leeches will actually be 5 or 6 feet up in the vegetation. So it doesn't help you if necessarily. This helps you from the low ones.
So have you removed them?
It's difficult basically because you basically have to. Well, ultimately they'll just drop off. But in the meantime, they're basically sucking your blood. You can put a match to it supposedly.
Haswan was just picking them off his leg as we went. He didn't have socks. He didn't have special socks.
Yeah, he's probably used to it all. So, getting back to butterflies, this is a white dragon tail. This is the 5-barred swordtail, another species of swallowtail. And this one does what's called puddling, where the male is actually getting moisture and picking up salts from the water that's in the dissolved water that's there. And this hair streak is one of the last butterflies we saw. It has a great name of a fluffy tit. And the neat thing about hair streaks, in case you're not a butterfly aficionado, is if you look at the the tail portion of it. Basically, what the hair streaks do is they sort of wave those little tails, and then those little black spots near the base look like eyes. So what happens is a bird will come in and think, oh, I'm going to grab this head of this bird, right, whatever it thinks it's grabbing. Because here's the antenna, here's the eyes. And then meanwhile, once it grabs that in its beak, the real butterfly flies off. And it'll miss its tail, but at least the butterfly flies off. And we do see, if you look at hair streaks, instances in which the tail is just missing, and you can almost tell it's due to a bird beak. So then we had a bunch of night drought rides as well. This is the red giant flying squirrel, one of the largest arboreal squirrels, body length about 11 to 21 inches, foot-long tail, and it's been known to have glides of up to a quarter of a mile between trees. Wow. So this is a buffy fish owl, lives mostly in tropical forests. You'll know this, if you look closely at its head, you'll notice that it doesn't have very much of a facial disc, for those of you who are bird watchers. And the reason why is called the buffy fish owl. And so if you're eating fish, fish aren't making much noise. So you don't really need that facial disc to detect that. You basically are much more of a visual type owl. Does this remind you of anything you've seen before that Sally showed you?
It does look like a big strawberry.
It does. This is the black crowned pitta, okay, that Sally showed you earlier. It's about 6 inches long, tall, and what it's doing is it's nighttime, so it's roosting, because if it's on the ground where it normally is, it'll get eaten. So it's actually roosting about 6-7 feet off the ground in order to avoid predation. And one of the predators might be something like this, which is the banded civet. It's about the size of a domestic cat and related to mongooses. It's nocturnal and it's wandering along the forest floor looking for good things to eat. So the last animal we'll talk about is this, which is a Sunda Kulugo. It's another semi-primate. It's what's called a primatomorph. Is related or on the same branch as primates, but it's on its own evolutionary branch of that tree, so to speak. There's just 2 species of colugos. They do not have opposable thumbs. They climb up trees by slow hops. And what they do is, if you look closely, it's hard to tell, but there's a web from the front foot that you can sort of see run along here. It goes all the way back to its back foot. And so it basically forms a web, which it uses to basically glide from tree to tree. And these colugos also have placenta, but the newborns are, when they are born, quote unquote, are just over an ounce. And they're just over an ounce, and they basically cling to the belly of the mother until for about 6 months before they finally mature. So that's our tour. The man in the middle, who is Yao, Steve Tick, he was the one that arranged our tour, and he's a very popular guide. We wanted to go there way back in November of 2024, and when we inquired about going, he was booked until October of 2026, which hasn't occurred yet. So we said, we don't want to wait that long. So he got Hazwan for us. And as you can tell, we had a great trip. If you want to go to Borneo, we highly recommend getting in contact with him because he did a great job. We saw him several times while we were with Hazwan, leading other tours, and he's a great guy. So
he planned our entire itinerary.
Yeah.
So
with that, we're open to any questions if you've got any, or if any comments. And the reason we actually went on this tour is because many of you probably have heard of Eric Shaw, local bird watcher. Well, he's out to try to see a member of each bird family in the entire world, and he's just about, I think, about a dozen from
That.
doing that.
Yeah.
So he's seen over 200 bird families, and he went with Yao to see some of the birds that are endemic to only Borneo. And so that's why, and he recommended that we go with Yao, and that's how we picked him. So, okay, with that, any questions?
I turned down a few questions earlier if people still have them, but Tim,
Just how long were you on the road?
17 days.
May I ask the cost?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well.
I don't know.
Okay, well.
I mean, it's not cheap when you
Okay.
go on your own.
Okay. Here's what. Okay.
So we can tell you later.
Well, yeah.
That's
If you're
what I
ready
would
to
say.
talk, well, I can tell them if you want.
Well, I don't think we need to.
Okay. You can come up
I mean,
back.
there are different ways to go
Yeah.
on these trips, and we really have enjoyed going just the two of us with a guide. But you can have equally great trips with a small group of people, and we just, as we get older and have health problems, we think it makes more sense to go by ourselves if we can afford it. So,
Yeah, because that's the other thing. You can definitely get cheaper tours, but the problem is the more people you have on your tours, the lower the cost overall. But then you're sort of locked in to that,
Yeah.
whereas we have a lot of flexibility.
yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I know you went also to see butterflies. Did you have a specific one you were looking for?
Oh,
Or was there one that really surprised you that you were very
that's
the question?
That's a really good question. She wants to know if we had a particular butterfly that we were looking for. And yes, the bird wings were the ones I really wanted to see. And one of the things that motivated me to go to Borneo, that and the orangutans. I always wanted to see an orangutan when I was growing up. So we did end up seeing, I think, two bird wings for sure, maybe three. There was one bird wing called Raja's bird wing, I think. It's green and it's about this big. And we got glimpses of it, but we didn't at the very last day, but we didn't get pictures of it. So that was one I really wish I'd seen better. But I was thrilled to see the other bird wings because we'd heard about them. The largest butterfly in the world is a bird wing that lives in Australia, Queen Alexander's bird wing. So, yeah, Roger, right?
Yes.
Hi.
Did you study guide books on your birds and butterflies before your trip? Or?
We had a copy of the bird guide, and we looked through it, yes. And we had a little tiny butterfly guide that had some of the butterflies in it. And so I did study that. Yes, we did. So it helped. But it's amazing. The biodiversity is just amazing. And you can't remember everything that you're going to possibly see. So Haswan was excellent and at finding them, identifying them, and yeah. Any other questions? There was a question about cephaloc earlier, but
I think she left.
she left. Oh,
You had said the female orangutan you had seen was it related to that hole in the people's yard? Because you pointed out the people that are cleaning the bird nest.
no, it was in the tree. It was in the pomelo tree.
I was trying to understand that element.
Sorry, no, didn't have anything to do with the workers, although I don't think they disturbed it.
Yeah.
There were several orangutans in that Gomatang cave preserve, and I don't think it was disturbed by them, but it was basically interested in eating the fruits. And
Did you hear any male long calls while you were there? The males doing a long call?
No,
we didn't. We saw on the boat the adult making a nest, a tree nest for the evening. That's when all those other boats came to see, and very hard to take a picture when your boat's moving. But we also saw a mother with a baby. We didn't see any adult males, but we were always moving because Haswan always had something else he wanted to show us. And so I could have sat all day and watched an orangutan, but that wasn't on the agenda. So, yeah, Christy?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say I thought the commentary and the photography are just stunning.
Yeah.
And it's so generous of you both to share this with so many different groups and people. I mean, it's just amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stunning.
We really do love sharing our experience
Yeah.
with people who are interested.
Yeah, I mean, we view it as an opportunity to educate people, and some people, if they have the means to go experience on your own, and if not, at least know about some of the beauty, biodiversity, and stuff that exists, uh, because you can't go on your own or whatever. But just realize there's a lot of beautiful things out there that's worth protecting, knowing about. Basically, have a larger view of the world, because there's more than just. Yeah.
Has anybody here been to Southeast Asia or Borneo or Sumatra?
I've been to Southeast Asia.
What?
We've been to Southeast Asia, but not to.
Yeah. Sumatra also has their orangutans. Sumatra and Borneo are the only two places you can see those.
How long did it take you to process your photos? Yeah, those photos.
Oh, they're all digital, so.
Yeah, but I'm sure you were taking a lot.
Yeah. Well, remember this was yeah. I mean, this was over a year ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had. So I don't know. I think it was April. Probably by May, we had some general idea of what was happening, because that's when we actually showed some of these pictures to one of your board members, and she was the one that actually, I think, got us involved with giving this program here. So.
So what's next?
Well, we don't have a trip planned right now, but we did go to Colombia in March, and that was equally thrilling, really. I mean, maybe not quite as exotic, but we saw many, many beautiful birds and butterflies. That was more of a butterfly trip, because we were in areas that are really rich in diversity of butterflies. Or Jean, yeah.
So did you spend the evening with him looking at the photos on the computer, and he would say, "Oh, this is that name," and so on? Or...
Yeah,
I like to go. I think I'm answering your question. I like to go through all of our pictures and identify what we photographed,
Yeah.
and that put it in the subject line in our digital file.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I did, because otherwise, when we were putting this together, we might have gone, what was that bird? So that helps a lot. But I enjoyed just learning, trying to identify all the things we see.
Yeah, just to let you know, as we were putting this program together, we did discover that one of the birds we thought we had saw was misidentified, because it didn't make sense. So.
Yeah, just this afternoon, I went through it and said, "Whoa!"
of course, we all knew that.
Well, thank you all for inviting us.
Yeah.
And thank you, Zoom audience, for hanging with
Oh, you need
us.
these
It just
We'll
very.
be putting
We have
this on our YouTube channel if you want to rewatch it, or share the link with friends.
Right.
Thanks for coming.
My daughter went to Southeast Asia.